Oh, that's great. No questions.
Pete, you're up.
Not sure I'll let you get away that easily, Ron. Obviously, the big news of the day, switching at quarterback. What made you to move to Kyle Allen right now in this moment?
Well, I think the biggest thing is looking at where we are in terms of our schedule and the situation and circumstances. This has been thought out by me for a while, to me, it goes back to the beginning of the schedule. We have 4 games coming up at the beginning that I was hoping to come out of it being 2-4, and then going into a stretch where we play 4 NFC games, 3 divisional games. And again, where we could make some hay. And unfortunately, you know, we're 1-3. We got 4 divisional games coming up. 3 divisional games coming up, 4 conference games. And I just felt, you know, based on the things that have gone on with Dwayne, based on his development and where he is, we're better off putting the ball in the hands of guys that know our system, a guy that's been in our system for 3 years, backed up by a guy that's been in the system before and is a little bit more accomplished quarterback. This is not an indictment on Dwayne as much as an indictment on the situation and circumstances that we are in. You know, he did not have the benefit of OTAs and minicamp. He didn't have the benefit of 4 preseason games to work through things. And because of that, he's behind in his development in the system. And again, it's an unfortunate situation. But, you know, as we go through the first 4 games and look at them and break them down, and, you know, I visit with the coaches, talk to the coaches, go through the games with the coaches and the things that happen, you know, it's just one of those things that he needs more time. And we're also, though, in a situation with what has happened in our division, it's open. And so I want to take an opportunity to see what we could do.
Les?
Hey, Ron. Sorry I got in a minute late. Was there anything about what happened at the end of the game the other day or towards the end when on the 4th down that he, on the pass, on the sack, are those things that kind of count against him at this point?
No, but those are things that all talk and speak to his development and things that he's got to learn to grow with. And my point just being is that he hasn't had the opportunity to play a lot of football. He hasn't had the opportunity to learn a lot of football and practice a lot of football. And that's the thing that he didn't get. He didn't get a lot of it last year. Going into OTAs and mini camps, which were blown out of the water because of COVID, he didn't get that. He hasn't had the benefit of that kind of work yet. And because of it, and because of our circumstance and situation, I made the decision.
Sam?
Ron, you've talked about the importance of rebuilding and evaluating and developing Dwayne. Is there any worry that maybe for long-term development that you would go for the short-term play in the schedule in the division?
That's exactly what this is. This is an opportunity to find out. I mean, we got 4 games that are critical. There are 4 games that are conference games. 3 of those 4 are divisional games. And that's what this is. This is a short term to find out. You know, I could have gone with Dwayne and who knows what would have happened. But if the negative happened, you could lose a young quarterback. I mean, Dwayne's got an NFL arm. Okay. And that's a legit thing he has, but he hasn't had a lot of NFL experience. You said, well, the only way he's going to get it if you play it. And the only way he's going to get it if he practices. And we missed a series of practices by not having the OTAs and minicamp and not having a regular training camp where he would have had 4 preseason games to work through things.
Con?
Hey, Ron, how much more do you feel you can do with your offense because of Kyle's experience? And then secondly, what was Dwayne's reaction?
Well, I think, he was disappointed, obviously. I mean, and I would have expected a competitor to take it no other way. I mean, he wants to play. He was disappointed, and I know today was tough on him, and I appreciate that. I understand that. I've been through it myself personally. I know what it feels like. But I think we can do a few more things. I think, again, Kyle's been in for 3 seasons. He's had some success. He hasn't had great success, but he's had some. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some success. He's a guy that can manage, can control, and hopefully things will go well. You know, we've put Alex in position to be the backup, and so we'll see how that unfolds.
Mike Phillips?
I know this will come across as second guessing, but you know, all these things you mentioned, Dwayne not having the preseason, Kyle having familiarity with the system. I guess you would say all that happened in week 1 or before week 1. So why was Dwayne allowed to start the season?
Because we had to find out. I felt that we had 4 games that if we come out of those games 2-4, okay, going into this week, I could stay with Dwayne. Okay. In spite of the situation and circumstances, but we're 1-3. Watching the games that Dwayne played, looking at things, Dwayne needs some more work. He just hasn't had enough work yet. And that's the thing that I hope everybody understands. He's got a live NFL arm, but he only played 1 year in college. He played very limited last year. I like the things that I saw from last year. And this year he played. We gave him every opportunity. We gave him all the reps with the ones. We gave him an opportunity to start 4 games and gave us a chance to truly evaluate. But with the division to where it is right now, okay, I'd be stupid not to give it a shot and see what happens in the next 4 games. But I wanted to put it in the hands of somebody that knows the system a little bit better, backed up by a guy that's been there.
Rhiannon and Nikki.
Hey, Ron, you said you understand that today was a hard day for Dwayne Haskins. Just in terms of like body language and things of that nature, obviously we could see him holding his arms, crossing his arms a little bit away. Does that count as a ding, I guess, even though you understand like he's disappointed and it's tough to be put in this position?
No, I don't count it as a ding, Ron, to be honest with you, because we all go through it. And we all handle things differently. What's more important is how he comes out of it. You know, he got a chance to practice. He took his reps in practice. We worked with the scout team. He went after practice and worked a little bit more too. He was near the coaches during practice. You guys get to see him at practice, and I wish some of you would have, so everybody would see that he got involved. He did the things he's supposed to. But he should be disappointed. If he wasn't disappointed, I'd be concerned because he wants to play, and I get that part of it, and he'll get his opportunity. But right now, we're in a situation where, if we're still trying to teach one guy, and the other 52 aren't given the opportunity to see whether or not we can win these next 4 games, then, that's not fair. And again, we're trying to develop a young quarterback, but we got one eye on what's happened in our division. I mean, if somebody was 4-0 and somebody else was 3-1, okay, but there's a chance to win. So the division. So we have to look at it that way. We've got 4 games that are very important, very vital, and we'll see what happens.
Nikki, then David.
Ron, with your eye on the short term, then does Kyle Allen get a chance to prove himself as a potential long-term starter, or do you expect Dwayne to compete for the job at some point later in the season?
I expect them all to compete, but we'll see what happens with Kyle. Again, he's had some success. It's been limited, but he's won 7 games for me in the past. That's the past. We'll see what he does this week, and we'll go from there. And like I said, we have a very capable guy in the wings, and Alex ready to go.
David.
Sorry. Ron, I want to try to understand exactly, where you're coming from on this, because everything that has been said since you got here was about the big picture and long-term thinking and nothing in the short term. We're not. And so I'm trying to understand,
well, the thing to look at, David,
why that goes away because you won 1 fewer game than you wanted to.
Because, David, you look at where everybody else is in our division. 1-2-1, okay, 1-3, okay, 1-3, 0-4. So we haven't been as successful as I'd liked us to have been in those 4 games, and I hadn't seen the growth that I was looking for in those 4 games. So to continue to do that with a chance to step up in the division, I think I'm wrong. I would be wrong to continue to try to do the same thing. So I want to put the ball in the hands of somebody that's been in the system, backed up by somebody that's been in the system as well, but is very capable, and see what happens. That's what I want to do. I'm taking a shot at the long term, short term, for the short-term glory. And if we come out of this, having won, 3 of the 4, we're right in the middle of it. Okay. And I just think now is the chance to take that shot and see. The one thing a lot of people don't see is the frustration on the sidelines on the other players as well. I look at that. I see that. I feel that. The guys want to win. And right now, where his development is, I think our best shot to win now is with guys that have been in the system. And that's what I'm doing. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Heather.
You said that you didn't want to, I guess, lose the young quarterback. But how how do you not do that when you're talking about wanting to win and he's not the guy that seemingly right now is the person to put you in the best position to do so?
Is he? Is he based on his last 3 games? That's what I'm looking at. Okay. I've looked at what's happened. Okay. And it's funny because everything I've seen and been told is everybody talks about him not doing this, him not doing this, him not doing this. Now I'm decided to do this, and wow. Okay. So get it. I'm looking at these things. We break these games down. We talk about these things. Okay. So my decision's being made based on what we've seen for the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks for that matter, and looking at where we are. Now, I think our best chance to win is putting the ball in somebody else's hands. I think our best chance to have things done in our offense in somebody else's hands. That's what I'm doing. Okay. I mean, I'm doing that based on what I've seen. I just think right now, this is the decision I'm making. I could be wrong. Okay. Or I could be right. And we'll see. That's why we play the games. That's why we show up on Sunday, is to see what happens. And that's all we're going to do.
Darren, JP.
Hey, Ron, Darren Haynes here. Can you give me your thought process on why you have Kyle Allen first, but then you have a guy like Alex Smith as the backup rather than moving Dwayne Haskins down to number 2?
Partly because the reason Kyle's number 2 is because Kyle's been working all the way through and Alex has been getting limited reps. I got Alex next because Alex has been in the system. Okay, he understands it, and I want to put the ball back in the hands of somebody else that's been in it. That's my thought process behind that, just to see what happens. Again, we have 3 capable quarterbacks. We have 2 guys right now that I've lined up as 1 and 2, and that's the way we're going to go with it.
JP. JP, we got you. If not, we got to move on to Matt.
He's muted.
You got me, Ron?
Yep.
We've all seen the documentary. We all saw the injury. How ready are you to be the coach that puts Alex Smith back on the field if something happens to Kyle?
Because there's doctors that were ready to put him back on the field as well. That's why. In talking to the doctors and listening to what the doctors say, that's why. If the doctor had told me, "Ooh, I don't think I'd put him out," I wouldn't put him out there. But to have the doctors tell me what they've told me, to say what they've said, I guess, based on, what the doctors tell me, unless we're not going to listen to medical science.
Paris.
Hey, Ron, Dwayne's agent had a tweet after Sunday's game saying that, there's this idea that maybe Dwayne hasn't gotten a fair shake because of the supporting cast around him. I guess just what do you make of that? And, specifically Dwayne's agent said, yeah, he is the one who must play well. I guess just what is your reaction to that?
It'll be the same thing for Kyle. Kyle's going to have the same guys out there. He'll have the same unfair shake, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, that's the thing everybody has to understand. We are who we are, okay? The players we have are the players we have. Those are the guys we're going to play, all right? But the thing we all have to understand is there's one primary position that touches the ball on every play. And what we're hoping to do is develop a young quarterback. And we get to a certain point where you say, wow, he's not getting it right now. We can continue to put him out there, or wow, look at this situation we have in our next 4 games. Do we want to shake the dice, or do we want to say, let's see if we can win them with somebody who has a little more experience, a little bit more time in this offense, and a little bit better feel for what we do? That's all I'm doing. Okay. I have a guy that has a little bit better feel, backed up by another guy that has a little bit better feel, okay, that have played a little bit more football, a little bit more understanding. I wish Dwayne had the offseason. I wish he had the OTAs and mini camps. I wish he had the 4 preseason games, because then he'd be further along. I told you guys, it takes about 5,000 reps, okay? He's not even close to that yet. And I'm going to stress it again. The kid has an NFL arm, but right now there's a chance, okay? And some people may not agree with me, but that's fine. That's what this is all about. But for me personally and for this football team, I'm taking my shot. I'm going to see what happens in these next 4. I'm here to win, okay? And now's an opportunity to find out if we can win.
Got time for 3 more. Scott, Mike, and Ben.
Hey, Ron, Scott Abraham, ABC7. Here's Dwayne. He's a captain of your football team. He's not even going to dress on Sunday. Are you concerned at all about the psyche and what this could do mentally for a young quarterback of sitting him down and not even going to dress on Sunday after he was your starter for the first 4 games of the year?
Well, I explained to Dwayne why I was doing the things that I did, okay? And hopefully he understands that he has not had the opportunity. Yeah, it's not fair either. I get it. It's not fair because he didn't have the OTAs and the mini camp and he didn't have the 4 preseason games. That's not the fair part. I get it. But the situation right now calls for us to do something different, and I'm going to do something different. And hopefully he understands. Okay, I hope he gets it. This is all part of the learning process. Believe me, I know what it feels like to be sat down. Okay, and how he comes out on the other end, that's up to him. He can come out on the other end stronger for this, okay, or not.
2 more.
Hey, Ron, when you talk about the veterans on this squad, the other guys you have to be mindful of, did you hear from them that they felt there needed to be a change? And also, when you look at this squad, you guys went young at a lot of places. Does this squad compare to the supporting cast that Kyle had? There's no Christian McCaffrey on this team. There's no Luke Kuechly on this team. Do you have enough to actually win with Kyle Allen in this division even?
Well, we're about to find out. I mean, again, he's going to have the same thing that Dwayne had. Okay, that's the thing that we're going to go with. We can only play the guys we have. I'm not trying to compare him to what he did in Carolina. I'm just saying I know he knows the offense. He's been in the system. Okay, now he may get the same reaction. Okay, the players may play the same way that they played for Dwayne. Okay, then and again, that's no mark on Dwayne, and that's no mark on Kyle. These are the guys we have, and we're going to play the guys we have, and we're going to win with the guys we have, and we're going to lose with the guys we have. I really think, in all honesty, that this is what it is. This is who we are. We're going to show up on Sunday, and we're going to play as hard as we can, and we'll find out.
Ben, last one.
Ron, you said you've had this plan for a while. When did you first tell this plan to Dan Snyder? And assuming that you guys had a conversation prior to making the announcement of the change, what can you tell us about that conversation?
I don't tell anybody what I'm thinking, okay? Because I don't want anybody to think that people are telling me what to do. I thought about this as we were going into the beginning of the year, and I looked at the schedule and I'm going, wow, our first 8 games are very telling. Because in our first 8 games, all right, we play everybody in our division, and we play one team twice. I thought, wow, shoot, if you can win those 4. And then I looked at the beginning of the season, man, if we can come out 2-4, I thought, okay, all right, we'll see what happens. So again, those are the things that I have to think about as the head coach. And those are the things that I have to map out. Right, wrong, or indifferent. But just so you know, that's what I'm doing. Okay. Now, I did talk to Mr. Snyder. I explained to him what I wanted to do. I explained to him why I wanted to do it. And he was very supportive. He said, Ron, it's your football team. Those are the decisions you're going to make. You're going to live with those decisions. And I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, well, then I'm all supportive. I'm behind you 100%. That's it. That was our conversation. Just so everybody knows. These are the things that I thought about. I went to our coordinator and I said, look, what do you think? What's going on? What's happening? He said, Coach, he's got a long way. It's tough. He's been learning. But you know what? I said, well, what do you think about going in? And I explained it to Scott. And Scott thought this is not a bad idea. We're putting the ball in the hands of somebody that knows the system better, that's been through the system for 3 years. That's what we're doing. And we're trying to increase our chances to win. And we think this is a good opportunity for us to win.